I'm Mary Johnson, and I'm a real woman of Philadelphia. Cream cheese, that is. And we're here in my kitchen in Sunland, California, and today I am going to be making one of my favorite foods, pizza. And when you make it as often as I do, it's really easy to experiment with. And so today we are going to be having one of my experiments that came out really fantastic. And it is a caramelized onion and roasted garlic base with bacon and prosciutto. And my secret weapon, we're going to be making a delicious cheese sauce with cream cheese and gorgonzola to drizzle over the top. So let's get started. I've got my pan over here that I have preheated, and I'm just going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I have 1 white onion and 1 purple onion that I have sliced vertically into thin strips. I'm going to dump these in, and I'm going to turn that heat down because I want to caramelize them, so technically I really want to cook them slow. So when you're caramelizing or you're trying to draw the moisture out of anything, especially vegetables like onions or onions and celery, you want to add a little salt because it helps draw the moisture out of it. I'm going to add my salt. You want about roughly anywhere from a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of salt. And then once they start to sweat a little bit, I'm going to add my other spices. I've got half a teaspoon of dried thyme, which I think is really nice with onions, and about a 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper because I like a little spice. And it counterbalances that sweetness so the dish isn't all about sweet. It's going to take about probably 20 minutes for them to totally cook down. Now one of the other things you want to do is we're roasting some garlic to go with this. So what I do is I just take my cloves of garlic, I make my little foil pouch, drizzle it with some olive oil, a little bit of salt, and you throw it in a 375-degree oven. Again, it takes about 20 minutes to a half hour to cook. I've already done this, so this is what it'll look like when it's done. It's nice and soft and caramelized. So we're just going to save that, and we're going to be adding that to the onions when they are finished. Alright, so the onions are really coming along nicely. They're getting close to being done. I'm going to add my garlic cloves, so you can see they just squish really easily. And then I'm just going to kind of mush them because they're soft. So I'm just going to kind of mush them with the back of my spoon here and get them incorporated in with the onions. So we're looking for like a really deep brown color to our onions because we want this to almost take on the consistency of like a creaminess, like a jam would be, if you want to look at it that way. And to finish it off, I like to just add a little bit, like about 2 teaspoons of a balsamic vinegar. And balsamic vinegar is a little bit sweet, so it just gives it that, again, what I was talking about before, that creamy consistency, that jammy consistency, and it pumps up the flavor a little bit. Set that right here. Alright, now I have got my pizza crust here. Same thing as I said before, you can buy pizza dough in this market, you can buy pizza dough from your local pizzeria, you can make your own pizza dough. As I said before, I make pizza once a week. I make my own pizza dough. It's super simple, takes about 5 minutes. So this is some pizza dough that I made a little bit earlier. I actually rolled it out and pre-baked it a little bit. All right, so for the base, you can see here, this is not your traditional pizza. It does not have a tomato sauce. I am actually using my roasted garlic and onions as my base, or as my sauce, if you will. And I like my pizza, especially for something like this, I want the base to be fairly thin. So this is, you know, it is not a thick crust pizza. It's not going to be really bready. I want it to be crispy. I want it to be crunchy on the edges. I am going to put on my meat. And what I've got here is, this other way, I've got some bacon here. I have pre-cooked it a little bit because I want it to be really crispy when it's done. And I just put it in my oven for about 10 minutes to just get it started. But it can still, you can see here, it's pretty limp. So it could use some nice crisping. But I want to make sure that when my pizza comes out of the oven, it's got that nice crispy topping. I'm also going to add a little bit of prosciutto, which is an Italian style cured ham. And it just has a little bit of a different flavor than the bacon, but it has the same smokiness, so it really complements all the other flavors that we have going on here. Got that on there. And I'm just going to put this back in the oven. It's preheated to 450 degrees. And I'm going to cook this and crisp up the toppings, brown up my pizza dough, and while this is baking, we're gonna make that fantastic cream cheese sauce that we're gonna drizzle over the top when it's done. Okay, now we are going to make the secret weapon for this pizza, and that is the cream gorgonzola sauce that I talked about. So what I have in my saucepan here is about 2 tablespoons up to a 1/4 cup of cream, and I've just heated it a little bit. And I'm gonna add about 5 ounces of the regular Philadelphia cream cheese. And I'm just going to put that in there, and it'll just become a part of the cream. You can see here that the cream cheese has pretty much almost fully melted down. You want to keep your heat on really low because you certainly don't want this to boil. You just want it to be nice and creamy. And to this, I am going to add some nice gorgonzola. I'm going to add, I want it to have like, you know, I want that bite of the gorgonzola. It's really good with the with the onions. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to crumble it in here so it can melt down with our cream. You know, believe it or not, it's actually going to just melt right in with the rest of this. Okay, so my gorgonzola has melted down nicely into this sauce. A little taste. Delicious. Just gonna slice this out. Doesn't that look good? The edges of the crust are getting really brown. And we're just gonna take this and we're just gonna kind of drizzle it all over the top. Now this seems like, you know, when you're looking at this, it seems kind of crazy. And it seems really decadent, but you have to remember, this is the cheese topping. So, you know, if I were to take a whole bunch of shredded cheese and smother it over the top, nobody would think a thing of it. And this just takes it to the next level. So, that looks good. And we're just gonna put it back in the oven until the crust is nice and brown. And our cream cheese topping can just melt into the rest of the pizza. All right, I think my pizza's ready. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, that looks really good. And you can see the cream cheese gorgonzola sauce is actually browned a little bit. You need to let it rest for a little bit before you cut it. And like everything else, I like to add a little bit of fresh to the top. It looks nice, and it just adds, you know, it's a really rich pizza, so it'll add a little bit of balance to the richness of it. Sprinkle that on. Oh, that looks so beautiful. Okay, there you have it. A fantastic caramelized onion roasted garlic pizza with bacon, prosciutto, and a Philadelphia cream cheese and gorgonzola sauce. Enjoy.